Alright, so this is my first movie review, right? Um, just got done seeing Black Panther um, Friday night, and I decided I'm just gonna go ahead and I'm gonna do a movie review because why not? You know, because just really felt like it was such a good movie. Black Panther, fantastic, 10 out of 10, really great. I think Marvel and the MCU as a whole has just gotten better and better with their movies, and Black Panther is no different. They made a really solid movie. Um, so many things to talk about, but I'd start with probably one of the more touchy subjects, and it shouldn't be, but the cultural relevance in this movie of how much this means to people of color, specifically black people. I think it's so good for black representation in movies going forward. I think this is just what that needed to start another boom in representation for people of color in media. So that was amazing. A whole 98, 99 black cast for the entire movie. Great. Loved it. For the most part, I think it was kind of a solid film. I didn't think any of the humor was too bad. It wasn't too cringy. Now, there was one line. They threw in a "What are those" line. With that meme a few years ago. How long was it ago now? Like 2014, 2013. Oh, what are those? At the beginning, and I kind of cringed a little bit. A lot of people in my theater kind of found it funny, but personally, I thought it was a little odd, kind of dumb, but it wasn't as bad as it could have been. What's next? The characters themselves, I think were all really good. Maybe a few missteps here and there, but I think overall was a really great. Went really well into the character development of all the characters. T'Challa as a whole was a great character. I think that it just it felt his character felt great and natural connecting to the other characters, the other people in the movie. His sister and forgetting her name, the other lady in the movie who she's friends with. I had horrible remembering actor names and character names. Um, but I'll probably put who they are on screen, who I'm talking about. I think they really had a good connection with each other. It felt like they had known each other for a long time. Like, it felt like such an established relationship for all of these people. It just worked. I just think all the characters worked well together. It didn't even almost seem like this was the first Black Panther movie. It almost felt like, hey, we're picking up from where we left off on Black Panther. That was awesome. They just cannot stress enough how well the movie flowed. The villain, Eric Killmonger, the main villain, I think they did a good job with making a compelling character. Really, very similar to Loki in that you can kind of sympathize with him, sort of. A bad guy with good intentions, the way he went about wanting to execute his plans went very well. By the way, I'm going to try to stay away from spoilers. I might not. It won't be spoiler heavy, I'll say that. I won't try to give away major plot points if you still haven't seen the movie. I know this is only the opening weekend, so still plan on seeing it. Don't want to see any spoilers, even minor spoilers. Yeah, go ahead and watch the movie first, then come back and we'll talk. I guess the other villain too, Ulysses. He's a Ulysses Claus or just Claw? I don't know where I'm getting Ulysses from. Maybe I'm just talking out my ass. Yeah, it is Ulysses Claw, played by Andy Serkis. I thought he was great. I was not expecting how, just kind of crazy and insane they take his character. Him being so loopy and just look like he's out of his mind, and like he belongs in some sort of mental house. But I liked that. I thought it was very funny. I thought it was a good place to go with this character. You kind of got a little bit of that in Age of Ultron. So I think it fit a little bit. So that was good. That was really fun to watch him. Action scenes. I think the action scenes. There was the very beginning action scene where it kind of fell to the Marvel kind of standard of cutting away back and forth a lot. And the fact that the first action scene is in the middle of the night kind of made it a little bit worse in a sense. Not to say that it was bad. I'm gonna admit, yeah, it wasn't the best. It was kind of hard to tell where everyone was a little bit. But overall, it's still good. It's only the first one. Believe me, there's other great action scenes in the rest of the movie. It's fantastic. And it didn't fall for those quick edits that they do in a lot of Marvel movies now. What else? Seeing the technological advancements, in Wakanda was pretty amazing. I thought it was really cool, very well executed. I knew that from the comics that Wakanda was the most advanced civilization on Earth, and I think they really brought that to light. I think that they really did a good job of making that apparent. They did a good job of making that known. They did a lot of stuff that I would have never thought of to show off how insanely smart they are and how much technology they have access to. It looked fun. It looked amazing. Wakanda itself was visually so colorful, looked bright and happy. It's such a great place to live. I legitimately thought halfway in the movie, I was like, I'd like to live in Wakanda. It looks so amazing there. Definitely would love to live there. Go back to action scenes for a little bit. I want to say that the action scenes, following along with the plot, I felt they made for really good, intense scenes. I really did think, or I really was invested into the scenes. It did get me feel tense up in the situations, in the moments. There's a lot of scenes where people get stabbed in the chest, in the arm, and all over the body parts, and you feel it. It does feel like, almost feels like you yourself got stabbed. You can feel their pain. You have that phantom pain for these characters when you see them get hurt like that. It's really well done. So visual effects, right? Visual effects, I think, were really well made. I didn't think that the CG felt too bad. I think maybe there's a few things. There's a few scenes where I could tell I didn't really fall for the CG. It did look like it was keeping your computer generated. But overall, I think it was really good. I think the CG was very nice, other than a couple scenes here and there. Wakanda, like I just said, it was so beautiful to look at. It was really pretty to look at. I think the colors and the sunsets that they did were very nice. Black Panther's suits were amazing. The way they just kind of bled around him, I guess here's a minor spoiler if you don't want to hear it, but there's a scene where T'Challa and his sister are in their lab, and she's introducing him to all Black Panther's new upgrades, and said that you can now turn on your Black Panther suit just by wearing this necklace, and you can tell it to command when it come on, and the entire necklace kind of bleeds out all of his armor around him, which I think was really cool. That was really, really nice. Black Panther suits were pretty incredible. They're up there with Iron Man. They made you feel like you wanted to be Iron Man, you wanted to be Black Panther, you wanted one of those suits. They were super, super cool. Iron Man wishes he had Black Panther suits, honestly. And speaking of Iron Man, I'd also like to say how this movie affects the rest of the MCU and moving forward into Avengers: Infinity War. This is another spoiler warning ahead. Post-credit scenes. We're gonna talk about post-credit scene. We're gonna talk about one of them more in particular, the very final post-credit scene at the end. We see Winter Soldier show up in this credit scene, the very, very end. Wakes up in a small village, part of Wakanda, with man, I should probably know her name instead of calling her Black Panther sister. Hold on. Got it. Shuri. That's what I was thinking. I wasn't entirely sure, but it's Shuri. That's what it was. So yeah, Winter Soldier wakes up in a little hut outside of Wakanda, or probably in Wakanda, actually. And he wakes up out of the hut, comes out, and sees Shuri there looking upon the lake. And they talk for a little bit. They said that Bucky says, thank you for helping me out. Shuri asks how he's been, how he's feeling. He says he's feeling good. And then they walk off saying that something about you have a lot to learn. And a lot of people have been speculating how this affects Onward. I think now more than ever you could pretty much guarantee that Bucky's going to get a vibranium arm. If you remember from Civil War, his arm was cut off. So yeah, he's more than likely getting a vibranium arm, which is really, really cool. And if you haven't seen the movie yet, or I guess if you have, people who have seen the movie, wouldn't it be awesome if he gets a hand or an arm similar to Claw's arm that he had in that movie? That would be pretty dope. I think it would be awesome if he had an arm just like that. Won't spoil too much, but yeah, it would be really awesome to have an upgrade like that in Infinity War. I don't know how much use it would be against Thanos, but it would be pretty cool to have. I think it would be really cool to useful to him, maybe. The other post-credit scene, I guess we'll talk about both of them. This one also affects the whole MCU. Okay, so this one is a bit of a spoiler. It's not a huge spoiler, I wouldn't say. Kind of, sort of. But if you have not seen the movie and don't want anything ruined at all, go watch it first, then come back. Gonna give you a warning right now. Alright, so the very end, the mid credit scene of Black Panther, T'Challa and his whole posse, I guess, they roll up to the United Nations and they say that they give the announcement that that they will be sharing their secrets and their technology and all their resources with the rest of the world, that they are ready to become a big player among the world and the United Nations as a whole, which is a pretty big deal for the MCU, I would say, because as you've seen from the movie, vibranium is one of the most versatile, do anything you want kind of metals that exists. My mind immediately thought, well, Iron Man might get a vibranium iron suit, right? If you paid close attention, if you had watched the 30-second commercial for Infinity War, the Super Bowl ad one, there's a tiny quick scene of Iron Man putting on his armor, and it's very similar, I would say, to the way Black Panther's suit comes onto him in his movie. So, making that connection with the post-credit scene, I would say it's very likely that, or highly likely that, Iron Man might get his own vibranium suit. I think with that technology, he could definitely make one of those in between the time of Black Panther and Infinity War. Also, again, another, I guess, slight spoiler, this isn't a huge one, but it's explained at the very beginning of the movie that the Black Panther movie takes place about a week after Civil War, so that's where you can place that in the timeline of the MCU chronologically. So yeah, it would make a lot of sense if they do announce that they're sharing vibranium with the world. To me, it makes a lot of sense that Iron Man could make his own vibranium suit similar to Black Panther for Infinity War. So yeah, there's that. We're done talking spoilers for now. Actually, I think we're done with spoilers in general. I want to bring it back to the beginning where I talked about cultural relevance. Again, this movie is really great for representation of black people and African culture in general. I'm no expert on African culture. I myself am Hispanic, so I don't really have that knowledge of African culture, but I felt that it very well represented African culture. So I really liked that. I really loved the director, loved all the actors, Chadwick Boseman and Michael B. Jordan. They did great. They played their characters amazingly. Can't say enough about how great that is. So after seeing Black Panther, not only would I recommend that everyone go watch it as many times as they could, I would spread this around on social media. I know people already are, but if you haven't yet, spread it around social media how much you liked this movie. Make sure Marvel and Hollywood know that you loved seeing movies like this. You want to see more, so we can get better about having diversity in all forms of media. You know, especially for Hispanic people like myself. I'd like to not be left behind in the representation in media. Hispanics will not be left behind. So that's what I had to say about that. I'm not gonna try to ramble on anymore. Don't want this video to be, well, I guess it's already long enough. So yeah, last time I'm gonna say this movie is 10 out of 10. Please watch Black Panther, or watch it as many times as you can. Such a good movie. See ya.